Welcome to the closing ceremony of the 2021 European Forum for Disaster Risk Reduction. My name is Claire Doul and I'm your Master of Ceremonies. I would like to invite the Secretary of State for Home Affairs, Patricia Gaspar, and Octavian Bivol, the Chief of the UN DRR Office for Europe and Centre Asia, to present and come on stage for the traditional award, the Damir Cemerin Award. Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, it's indeed an honor to continue the great tradition of presenting the Damir Cemerin Award for Local Change at this year's European Forum for Disaster Risk Reduction. For those of you who are new to the FDRR and to the award, the Damir Cemerin Award was originally proposed by Sweden in 2012 and handed out in that year's EFDRR. The award is named in honor of Mr. Damir Cemerin, who prematurely passed away in 2013 after a long period of service in support of disaster risk reduction in his home country of Croatia, as well as at the international level. The award is presented to either an individual or groups of champions ranging from organizations, educators to entrepreneurs and community leaders that are recognized for the work to improve their communities in terms of building resilience to disasters. Champions of the award will receive their certificate and be honored by their story presented at the EFDRR webpage, press release, and social media coverage. The theme of this year's award is nature-based solutions. And I'm very honored to share with you that the winner of this year's award of Damir Cemerin for Local Change is the municipality of Cascais, for their work on Parque é Nosso. The park is ours. I would like to congratulate the municipality of Cascais and all those involved for the award and invite representatives of the project to share their story. But before that, I would like to invite Ms. Patricia Gaspar, State Secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs of Portugal, to come on stage for the remarks and handing over the award.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Octavian, for your introductory words. So my first words go, of course, to the municipality of Cascais, and basically congratulations for all the efforts that you have done to win this award. I would also like to thank the National Authority for Civil Protection for having provided all the staff and all the work to deliver this prize. And of course, last but not least, just a warm word to all the other municipalities who have worked, who have done a wonderful job in different areas of intervention. They did not win this prize today, but who knows? In the future, of course, they will be eligible again. So thank you so much, and congratulations again to the municipality of Cascais.
Celebramos um sábado, provavelmente os sábados mais importantes de Cascais, do município de Cascais. Foi um sábado onde afluíram mais de 1.200 cidadãos à Duna da Cresmina para colaborar na regeneração do que aconteceu a seguir ao fogo. O fogo foi a 6 de outubro e deixou uma grande ferida, uma grande cicatriz na nossa paisagem. Hoje, um ano envolvido, vimos celebrar essa energia que foi tão pura e tão positiva, que é a vontade dos cidadãos ajudarem a recuperar a nossa paisagem. A iniciativa ficou conhecida como O Parque é Nosso, porque é assim mesmo, o parque é de todos nós. O parque é paisagem, é pulmão, é diversidade, é casa. É por isso que as pessoas querem dar o seu tempo para ajudar a preservar e a melhorar essa paisagem. Os voluntários que hoje participaram em ações variedíssimas, como o controle de espécies invasoras, a construção de ninhos, a colocação de obstáculos nas ribeiras e por aí fora.
Tem significado de responsabilidade social e cívica, de partilharmos a proteção do nosso território, a proteção da natureza, de recursos que requisitam realmente que todos nós nos empenhemos. Não podem ser só os poderes locais, regionais e nacionais a preocuparem-se com estas questões.
Há um ano estive lá na Cemerin, também já estive noutras partes da serra a fazer reflorestação. Fiz também uma ação de limpeza das praias e agora estou à espera da próxima.
E queremos mostrar aos cidadãos qual é a visão da Câmara para toda esta encosta que é a nossa serra, o nosso parque. A nossa visão é uma visão de um modelo de paisagem bem diferente do que temos agora. O que temos agora é uma paisagem bastante homogénea, um pouco esquecida. Os cidadãos vivem de costas voltadas. E nós queremos um regresso ao passado em que cada parcela desta paisagem tem uma função. Uma pode ser a pastorícia, outra pode ser a floresta, outra pode ser a agricultura. É uma paisagem que é viva, que tem dinâmica económica. É uma paisagem que é...
Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Finally, after a few days of work, it's a pleasure to receive this award in behalf of the municipality of Cascais. Just a few slides to... Just like to present some of the ideas of the project. Yes. Okay, so in 2018 we have a huge fire, and definitely people understood that wildfires does only occur in the deep wildlife forests inside Portugal. It actually can come just right to near our house. At Cascais, we had this example, and first of all, what we did is to have political commitments. So it's important to local governments to step forward, because in the end of the day, the local municipalities are the ones that suffer more, because they have to support all the community and to empower people to solve the problem. So first of all, our mayor stepped forward and engaged and said, this can no longer happen again in our municipality. Then, of course, lead by example. You can see one of the first teams to go to the field, it was the municipality workers in the huge efforts of team building. People without technical knowledge, we provide them technology, we invite them to come, and they also love to do this kind of opportunities. So empower those who actually saw the disaster and thought they could not participate. And this is opportunity for them to come and to show the example to all the community that things can be changed. Afterwards, of course, engage with the community. So when you show the example, the community also look at us as a champion, and they also challenge us. So the big problem was how to have opportunity to create this kind of situation. So this is a kind of example. In the dunes, we had in one weekend about 1,000 people. So it was too much people to manage. But we could not afford to don't give them a possibility to be engaged. So this was one of a very nice, interesting aspects, engaging with the community. But we went even deeper. We wanted to touch in the next generation. So we went to schools. We put schools preparing the next generation of trees. We gave them seeds. We gave them materials and plants so they can raise and take care of their nurseries with oak trees to prepare the next generation of trees to restore again the landscape and the nature conservation. But also very, very important for local municipalities, especially those who actually have these kind of risks in their terrain. It's have a good team, passionate people, not only about risk, but be prepared, be passionate, love nature, and be available to step forward when risk it's coming. So the work it continues. On the 2022, it was the the International Autochthon Forest Day. Actually, in our day, people are planting trees already. The rain has already came, and so it's an ongoing job, and there's no way to turn back. Unfortunately, our landscape already have wild horses on the landscape. New approaches is also important to, in this case, to prevent risk of fire. And you have always the opportunity to look to other ways of doing so. So thank you very much for this award, and till the next time. Thank you.
And congratulations to the municipality of Cascais. Well, I think over the last few days, we've all enjoyed the generous hospitality of the city of Matosinhos. And it's my real pleasure now to give the floor to Marta Pontes, Civil Protection Councillor of the host city, to deliver her closing remarks.
Thank you. Mr. Octavian Bivol, Mrs. Patricia Gaspar, Mr. Zimmer, Your Excellencies. By hosting the European Forum for Disaster Risk Reduction, we reinforce the role of Matosinhos and Portugal as catalysts for change and global leaders in combating the risk for disaster. No, disasters do not only happen to the others. And no, disasters are not just a problem of a utopian future that will never affect us. 2019, 2020, and 2021 proved to us that global pandemic crises are a reality, and that without the articulation of the various countries, cities, civil protection, and governments, we are defenseless in the fight against risks that threaten everyone's security. At a time when the number of COVID-19 cases is on the rise again across Europe, but also at a time when the threat of new types of pandemics and global warming has never ceased to exist, Matosinhos thanks everyone for their presence in this global effort to reduce disaster risk. Here was signed the committing to making disaster prevention and resilience a priority and accelerating the implementation of the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction 2050-2030, which from now on will be known by the Matosinhos Commitments. On these days, another step was taken in the reduction of global risks, and several commitments were made. Matosinhos, that integrates the platform for the reduction of risks and catastrophes, will also adopt these commitments at its scale. The revision of the municipal law for urbanization and building to introduce environmental sustainability criteria, the expansion of the project to offer trees to the population, the replacement of the arboreal park with native and resilient species produced in the São Brás Park, the increased number of floor replacements for permeable solutions, and the expansion of vegetation cover areas on roads with more traffic intensity to increase CO2 capture proves that Matosinhos is really committed with disaster risk reduction. We challenge all participating cities to do the same. Thank you once again for your presence in Matosinhos and for the opportunity to gather in person and virtually such distinguished guests. We wish you all a safe return home. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those commitments. Mijana Spolaric-Egger is the UN Assistant Secretary General and Director of the UNDP Regional Bureau for Europe, and she is joining us virtually to deliver her reflections on the forum and to give her thoughts on the way forward.
Good morning from New York. Good afternoon, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to join you at this important event. The countries of Europe and Central Asia face mounting losses from a range of natural hazards, from severe flooding to storms and drought. Their impacts cut across countries and different sectors, from agriculture and water resources to public health care and energy. The global health crisis multiplied these adverse socioeconomic impacts affecting people's health, well-being and livelihoods, and the quality of life more generally. In the past 3 days, we have exchanged best practices and lessons learned for new partnerships and reflected on the region's progress on our joint Sendai 2030 journey. Through a number of thematic sessions focusing on various pressing issues, including inclusivity, advocacy, policy work, science, and new technologies, we have envisioned a better prepared for the critical period of implementation of the Sendai framework ahead of us. This important event comes a year after the Target E deadline, the Sendai framework of the Sendai Framework 2020, calling for substantially increasing the number of national and local strategies for disaster risk reduction. The discussions and presentations during this forum demonstrated that we have jointly made sufficient progress in the number of national and local disaster risk reduction strategies. Nevertheless, there is still room for ambition and improvement as we strive for a more resilient region in times of unparalleled cascading disasters. The climate is changing at an unprecedented rate, amplifying existing and creating new risks for natural and human systems. The future resilience of the Europe and Central Asia region now rests on our commitments to improve existing information exchanges, regional cooperation, to promote science-centered policies, and to capitalize on enhanced data systems and new technologies. Additionally, we now understand a growing need to mainstream youth and gender-sensitive disaster risk reduction. A critical component of upholding the rights of the most vulnerable is ensuring that their needs are met and that their contributions are integrated into disaster reduction efforts. And we are challenged to be innovative and to think outside of the box and be inspired by good examples and best practices to move from commitments to real and sustainable results. At UNDP, we are committed to tailor our work in line with the key priorities specified under the EFDRR Roadmap 21 to 30, by building upon prior knowledge and experience in the region. And as changes in the global climate create new risks and amplify existing ones, we are also committed to support policies and investments for better understanding and preparedness to systemic existing, emerging, and new risks. The issue-based coalition on environment and climate change that we have established at the regional level could be instrumental to the support of UN country teams in that respect. It is also critical to accelerate the Sendai framework implementation through concrete measures and actions that improve resilience and reduce disaster risks at regional, national, but also local levels. At UNDP and more broadly as the UN development system, we are ready to support the strengthening of institutional capacities at all these levels with a view towards sustainable urban development and investment planning, as well as enhanced preparedness capabilities to build resilience. Last but not least, disaster risk reduction requires an all-of-society engagement and partnership to reduce and manage risks effectively. We are dedicated to strengthening coherence in our efforts for an all-of-society DRR approach and risk governance, which integrates all administrative levels, stakeholders, communities, and most at-risk groups, both as actors and as beneficiaries of the decisions and investments taken to reduce socioeconomic impacts of disasters. Now, by way of closing, I would like to thank you all for actively participating in the European Forum for Disaster Risk Reduction in 2021, and for committing to support and work towards the new roadmap goals for accelerating the Sendai framework's implementation for the period of 2021 to 2030. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the Assistant Secretary General. Paris KV Michou, Director General of the EU Directorate for Humanitarian Action and Crisis Management, is also joining us virtually. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon from Brussels. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very glad to join you at the closing ceremony. This year's European Forum for Disaster Risk Reduction that we are about to close has taken place against the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic and the sobering report of the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. The UN Secretary General has stated that the report is a code red for humanity. Europe has not been spared from the effects of climate change. This summer, we witnessed deadly forest fires and floods. The growing number of activation of the Union Civil Protection Mechanism, the coordinating mechanism that supports response to emergencies, reflects the dire reality of climate change. Between 2001 and 2019, the mechanism coordinated support to an average of 20 emergencies per year. In 2020, this number increased to 102 emergencies, and in 2021, we already have more than the number that I referred to last year. There is no doubt we need to act decisively and quickly now and prepare for the future. The European Forum for Disaster Risk Reduction roadmap, the Prevention Pledge, and the discussions and commitments that they took place in this meeting restate and renew our commitment to the Sendai framework ahead of us. They point us into the direction that we need to go together. Governments at national and regional level, communities, stakeholder groups, and very important, the young population. We need to have a solid understanding of the risks we are facing. Early warning must be translated into early action. We need to continue supporting exchanges of scientific information and reinforcing global multi-hazard monitoring and early warning systems. We need to learn from our response to disasters in order to develop long-term planning for prevention. Lessons learned need to be translated into actions. We need to protect our citizens, especially vulnerable persons, buildings, infrastructure, economic activities, our cultural heritage, and the environment. Understanding risk has to be a bottom-up approach. It starts for collecting local and regional data and knowledge in order to assess which transition and adaptation needs and are required. We also need to improve the way we are managing disaster risk. Disaster risk management requires insightful risk awareness of all of society. Citizens, authorities, businesses need to understand disaster risk. They need to be aware to act if disaster strikes and take all necessary steps to prevent and protect as far as possible. In order to foster and promote exchange between various stakeholders, the European Commission will launch the Union Civil Protection Knowledge Network on the 7th of December. And all this understanding risk and improving disaster risk management needs to be complemented by investments. The economic argument for investing in disaster prevention and preparedness is robust. We, the Commission, we have commissioned a study to the World Bank Group that finds that the benefit-cost ratio for wildfire prevention projects is always positive, and it can be as high as 12. This means that every euro invested in prevention can yield up to 12 euro in economic benefits. Prevention pays off, and prevention saves lives. I would like to express my gratitude to the Portuguese government for hosting this forum. I would like to thank UNDRR and the Council of Europe for the excellent collaboration during the preparation of this forum. And I would like to thank all of you who contributed in the various sessions and events to these important discussions that we must and will continue in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'd now like to give the floor to Christoph Zeman, Executive Secretary of the EUR-OPA Major Hazards Agreement Council of Europe.
Thank you very much. Madam Patricia Gaspar, Madam Marta Pontes, Mr. Octavian Bivol, Honorable Ministers, Honorable State Authorities, Honorable Municipal Authorities of Matosinhos, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, members of national delegations and invited international organizations. It is an honor for me, in my capacity of the Executive Secretary of Europa Major Hazards Agreement and representative of the Council of Europe, to address to you some brief words at the closing ceremony of the European Forum for Disaster Risk Reduction. The forum was very dense and rich in events, which give us all food for thought and stimulus for action as we go back to our countries. During the plenary sessions and in many side events, we all shared ideas on how to prevent hazards turning into disasters, minimize risks, and to build resilience after disaster strikes, thus promoting safer societies through the implementation of the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction. Back to back with the forum, the Europa Major Hazards Agreement held its quadrennial ministerial meeting titled Building More Inclusive Societies Through Better Risk Management. And I thank the forum organizers and the Portuguese authorities, in particular Minister Eduardo Cabrita, for affording us this opportunity. At the meeting, the ministers adopted a forward-looking medium-term plan for 2021-2025, which dovetails with the Sendai Framework, and two recommendations that address inclusion of two vulnerable groups, namely asylum seekers, refugees, and migrants, as well, the second one, persons with disabilities, during public health emergencies resulting from pandemics. This is one of the Council of Europe's practical, specific contributions in the field of prevention, preparedness, and response in the face of major natural and technological disasters. I am particularly pleased that these documents were adopted during this important forum. Working hand in hand, the Council of Europe, the European Commission, and the UNDRR clearly demonstrate how we can and how we do work together towards the common goal. Together, we can do more. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to welcome again Octavian Bivol to deliver on behalf of the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction his closing remarks.
Thank you so much. State Secretary Patricia Gaspar, Ms. Pontes, DG Michu, Ms. Mirjana Spoljaric-Egger, Mr. Zeman, Dear colleagues, dear participants here in the room and also in the cyberspace, I know that many are connected virtually. First, I would like to thank and congratulate all participants, all of you, all of us, representing member states and many other stakeholders for the strong engagement during this European Forum for Disaster Risk Reduction and also throughout its preparation. It has been encouraging to see governments pledging enhanced efforts and support to reduce disaster risks through strengthened governance, engaging multiple stakeholders and sectors, and focusing on prevention. I would like to express our most sincere appreciation to the government of Portugal for hosting this EFDRR. I thank all the ministry officials, staff and volunteers who have been working so hard to make this a successful event. I would also like to say a heartfelt thank you to the municipality and to the city of Matosinhos, the mayor of Matosinhos, Ms. Salgueiro, her team, for the excellent support in organizing the event and hosting us so warmly. It is indeed difficult, as we mentioned already on the first day, to underestimate the timing and importance of this year's EFDRR. Europe has experienced many devastating disasters in recent times. The COVID-19 pandemic continues to affect the entire region for almost 2 years, and it has challenged our existing approaches and capacities for disaster risk reduction. And this has been compounded by the deadly climate-related disasters over the summer of 2021, from devastating floods to raging forest fires. There has been an overwhelming understanding across the EFDRR sessions that many risks that we face do not exist in isolation. There are many cascading, and in many instances, they are interconnected and systemic, with compound and cascading impacts. We must learn about this evolving risk landscape and adapt to it by working together through a transformative approach to the disaster risk reduction. Allow me to share or to highlight some messages that have emerged across the sessions of this EFDRR. First, together we discussed how to move beyond business as usual. And we heard the representative of children and young people, Rebecca, at the ministerial roundtable, making the point that there is no time to lose. It's time to act now. And that was, I think, the motto of this forum. In order to save lives, we need to focus on prevention. We discussed how this new risk landscape needs new collaborative efforts and support. We also, under the new risk landscape, which does not know political boundaries, we discussed the benefits of working together, especially with regional and sub-regional organizations, scientific community, and all valuable and resourceful stakeholders. We all have a role to play. And moving forward, the session this morning on the roadmap, we looked into the critical role of our network of Sendai Framework national focal points to take the messages and the priorities of the roadmap that was agreed in Matosinhos, or the Matosinhos Pledge, to make it practical and to focus on the implementation of the roadmap at the national, but what is also important, at regional level. The roadmap for disaster risk reduction 2021-2030, which has been agreed at this EFDRR, provides tangible evidence of the willingness to work together and build resilience together. It provides us with a solid and comprehensive basis for accelerating the implementation of Sendai Framework and addressing the great challenges of this 21st century that we all face. This is a very clear and pledge of political commitment that we witnessed here in Matosinhos. Therefore, while I thank the government of Portugal for hosting this forum, we already start looking at the next forum in 2024. And here I would like to open up the invitation and to host the next forum I heard already.
It's easy.
It's easy. Some indications of possible interest, and we would be welcoming the indication for coming from a country to host the next forum in 2024. I would like to thank all of you for the enthusiasm and for the active participation in this forum. I also would like to thank the Secretariat of the forum, including our colleagues from the European Commission, from the Council of Europe, that contributed to the preparations and to the smooth running of the forum. I know it's never fair to mention names. Nevertheless, I would like to take the risk. And I know that I will not be fair in giving the credit to all colleagues that contributed to the success of this forum. But as a co-organizer, I would like first and foremost to thank Minister Cabrita, to thank Secretary of State Patricia Gaspar for your personal participation and contribution to the success of this forum. I would also like to thank colleagues from the Portuguese Civil Protection Agency, including the director of the agency, Mr. Costa, but also, and I know there are many colleagues in the room, but I'm looking at two focal points that we've been working with throughout this preparation process, and they became close friends to us, José Oliveira and Ana Freitas. Thank you so much for your continuous and support and commitment. I would like also to thank once again the municipality of Matosinhos, and again, I know it's not going to be fair to, besides mentioning Marta and Mayor Salgueiro, but I would like to mention in particular Susana. I hope she is somewhere in the room. Yeah, Susana. Miguel. Paula.
Paula is over there.
Over there. Thank you so much, and sorry, colleagues, for not mentioning all. I know there was a huge team effort, a huge collective effort. This forum is very special. There are many participants in the room, but this forum is a hybrid forum. So I think all appreciate the fact that it worked very well, and this would have not been possible without, of course, the support of our partners and colleagues from Catapult. And I would like to, Catapult is not the catapult that, you know, we're not going to project ourselves anywhere else except into the next year of DRR in 2024. But I would like to mention also colleagues that we don't see, but have been in touch with us to prepare the sessions, and that is Fran and her team. I hope, Fran, you hear us. Give us a sign if you hear. Kieran, who has orchestrated it so nicely here in the room, and also Ronan, who is the mastermind of this whole thing. We thank you all, colleagues. I would like to thank all our translators that made possible that we all hear, understand each other, and this is very hard work, particularly, and I know also myself tend to speak sometimes fast. I know that you had to chase every single word. Thank you so much. I know this is not modest and probably not the common practice, but I would like to thank my team as well, if you would allow me. And I know there is a risk that after this meeting, I won't be able to step into the office because I'm not going to mention every single member on the team. It was a team effort, but nevertheless, I want to mention a few names which were really instrumental in making this meeting happen, particularly in this context of a hybrid format. Sebastian, Milos, Rafaela, Tessa, thank you so much. I'm sorry it was a bit long, but it was really, there are no words, neither in English, nor in my native Romanian, nor in, unfortunately, the Portuguese that I know only a few words to express our appreciation to this fantastic forum and gathering. Thank you so much. Muito obrigado. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I would now like to give the floor to the Secretary of State for Home Affairs, Patricia Gaspar, who's going to give us the Chair's summary and formally close this 2021 European Forum for Disaster Risk Reduction.
Thank you so much. Well, this is coming to an end. I cannot repeat everything that my friend Octavian just said, and I'm not going to thank again to all of you because his words are also my words. So please, really thank you. Thank you to all of you who were directly or indirectly connected to the organization of this forum. I just like, before reading the chair's summary, just give you a few words straight from my heart. I'm really glad that we didn't give up organizing this forum, even if it is in such a weird hybrid format. Our lives have changed so much for the last 18 months that it's amazing, I think, how fast we adapted ourselves to these new realities. There was a point in time where we actually had to give a lot of thoughts about how it would go organizing this event. We wanted to have you all here physically in Matosinhos, but that was too risky. So we decided for this hybrid format, and I think it was a tremendous effort for everyone. For those who were working behind the scenes, for all of those who nevertheless traveled so many kilometers from their countries of origin to be here today with us. So many people coming from different organizations here in Portugal, traveling from north to south to follow and to participate and to share ideas. So I think we'll leave Matosinhos with our hearts full, but also with a tremendous responsibility, because all the eyes in the future will be set on us. And we are much more aware now of the responsibility that lies within ourselves, and also on the urgent call for action that we all need to make. So I think that everything that we have shared these last couple of days, all the efforts that all of you have committed to this event will be fruitful and will give results in the times to come. So we are all looking forward to the next forum. I don't know where it's going to be, but I hope that in 2 years, we will be able to come back to everything that we have shared now and see what were the developments, because we really need to continue to work, not only for our sakes, but especially for the sake of our kids, our families, our friends, and on the future generations. So please, thank you so much. And now it's my honor to share with you the chair's summary of these last couple of days. It's a bit long, so I'm just gonna ask you for another couple of minutes. Chair summary. The 2021 European Forum for Disaster Risk Reduction was held from the 24th to the 26th November in Matosinhos, Portugal, shared by the Government of Portugal with the support of the DRR Secretariat, composed by the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, the European Commission, and the Council of Europe. The DRR welcomed delegations from 49 European and Central Asian member states. Building on the outcomes of the UN Climate Change Conference, COP26, the participants agreed on the critical urgency to address increasing climate risk. They reiterated the need for urgent and coherent action on climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction. Participants reiterated the need to move beyond business as usual approaches and to invest in a more climate and disaster resilient Europe and Central Asia. They endorsed the DRR Roadmap 2130 and its 4 areas to accelerate the implementation of the Sendai Framework 2015-2030. The participants recognized that lessons learned from the COVID-19 pandemic illustrate the need to rethink how we address simultaneous and compounding crises. They stressed the need to strengthen transboundary collaborative mechanisms to understand risks better, as well as the need to support better governance and reduction of existing, emerging, and future risks. Participants underlined the benefits of comparable common risk assessments and strategies to facilitate transboundary cooperation. The participants underscored the need to invest in new and green infrastructure systems and services to address dangerously aging assets. They stressed that the systematic nature of risk, cascading, and complex interdependencies require innovative critical infrastructure systems. The participants highlighted the transformative power of science, data, and technology. They agreed on the importance of the science policy society interface for an active and positive social discourse as a counterweight of disinformation. Participants appreciated the ministerial commitment to invest in evidence-based approaches to underpin risk-informed policies and regulatory frameworks. Learning from COVID-19 and financial crisis, participants emphasized the need for a new social contract for inclusive all-of-society approaches to build resilience. They recognized that disaster risk reduction is a collective responsibility for leaving no one behind. They reiterated the need to budget and institutionalize all-of-society collaboration, especially involving those most at risk. The participants stressed the role of local governments to build resilience and the fact that cities offer unique opportunities to boost sustainable development. They recognized the importance of support structures and the need the need for coherence of local, regional, and global levels, including city-to-city collaboration. The participants expressed concerns about the unsustainable economic losses from disasters and stressed the need for greater public and private investments for reducing risks. They recognized important progress on financial disclosure of climate risk and emphasized the need to accelerate green and disaster-resilient economic recovery. Looking ahead, the participants stressed the importance of regional and sub-regional collaboration, as well as the crucial role played by the Sendai Framework national focal points in establishing effective mechanisms for successfully implementing and reviewing progress of the EF DRR Roadmap 2130 for a climate and disaster-resilient Europe and Central Asia. The participants expressed sincere appreciation and gratitude for the exceptionally warm hospitality from the government of Portugal and the city of Matosinhos. Thank you so much, and congratulations once again.
I shall then just formally close this forum and say that we hope to see you again somewhere in 2024. Thank you.